The Vietnamese people have a great love and respect for the ocean. In addition to being a place for families to gather, for many, it's also the source of their livelihood. This is a story about a significant transformation in fishing. It starts in the small Vietnamese fishing town of Tam Quan Bac, which lies in the fertile coastal zone of south-central Vietnam. The town centers around a small river mouth where fishing vessels can enter and find sheltered waters. People have been fishing from this small port for hundreds of years. To those of this fishing community, the sea and its creatures are more than just water and living things. They exist in the world of the spirits, and the gods and spirits can choose to help or challenge those who go to sea, and sometimes bring great fortune. Since the earliest days, the means to share the sea's bounty have constantly changed as knowledge and technology became available. Changes from small rowing boats to fishing vessels. Changes from small to large handcrafted fishing vessels, capable of venturing out into the high seas in pursuit of tuna. This is a community pagoda managed by retired fisherman Vo Ken. He told us a remarkable story of how the whole tuna industry changed because of something he observed while he was out tuna fishing.
One night, I was out fishing with lights for flying fish to use for tuna bait. The bright lights also attract other fish and a few squid. Suddenly, I observed huge tuna chasing the squid. So I tried a live squid on a hand line, and to my surprise, I caught the tuna. Well, the rest is history.
Up to this time, the tuna fishers were using the longline fishing method. This involves extending a line up to 6 miles long with about 1,500 baited hooks along the line. The hooks are left in the water all night, sight unseen, and when the fishers eventually pulled in the line, tuna and other species were hopefully attached to the hooks. The method of fishing with live squid at night with handline that fisherman Vo Ken claims to have discovered uses only baited hooks on a hand-operated line. The fishers can observe the lines in real time and can actually haul the line in by hand when something takes the bait. The handline method actually catches as many tuna as longline in a shorter period of time and requires fewer resources.
When we switched to handline, we actually saved more than $2,000 per trip. When you longline fish, you have to run the engine the whole time to keep the line straight. When you handline fish, you just turn off the engine and fish.
The fuel cost was not the only savings. The crews were smaller, less bait and tackle were needed, and the trips were shorter, allowing the fishers to spend more time back home with their families. This fisherman told us a slightly different story on how he discovered the handline fishing technique.
When we set out the long lines, we had to let them sit for 18 hours at a time before we hauled in the line. During this time, our crew was free to use handline, and whatever they caught, they got to make the money from it. We had the boat lights on to catch the bait, and we saw the squid being chased by the tuna. Well, one fisherman caught a big tuna on a handline going for the squid. And then, other fishers on the boat were also successful with the handline tuna fishing method.
When they got back to port, they celebrated their catch over drinks.
While we were drinking, we told the other fishermen how the handline worked to catch tuna, and then the new technique spread like wildfire. When I got home, I bought lots of big lights and started handline fishing and never looked back.
word then spread down the coast to Phu Yen province and the bustling port city of Tuy Hoa.
Through word of mouth, the fishermen in Phu Yen heard about the success in Tam Wam Bak, and they tried tuna handline fishing, and they also had great success.
Finally, handline fishing came to the last Vietnamese tuna port outside of Nha Trang, a city more famous for stunning beaches and international tourists than tuna fishing.
Squid fishermen in Bin Din were the first to notice the tuna chasing the squid, and this caused a changeover to handline tuna fishing in Nha Trang.
With the new handline technique changing the industry, Vietnamese fishermen and other stakeholders came together at a community meeting to share best practices and to discuss the advantages of handline fishing.
The advantages of handline tuna fishing are that the fishermen use active fishing gear so the fishermen know when the fish is hooked, and they can bring it up immediately while the fish is still alive. That's a great benefit to endangered species like marine turtles, sharks, and rays. They can be released, unlike the barrier of longline fishing where the fishermen don't know when they are hooked.
At the end of the community meeting, the fishermen and their families gathered in the banquet hall to celebrate their new prosperity and the success of their new fishing techniques that help with sustainability for the environment, for their families, and for the world market.
The transformation of the fishery from longline to handline happened so fast and with such a mad dash to make the change that it was almost like you could say a blue gold rush. The people were converting squid boats to tuna boats. People were buying the big lights needed to fish at night with squid for tuna as fast as they could get their hands on them.
Processors like me now only buy from handline fishers to avoid the environmental impact of longline fishing and the indiscriminate way of fishing blind and getting all types of fish they don't want.
Changing from longline to handline fishery apparently has been a fortunate situation because obviously handline fishery has a lower impact.
Now that the Vietnam tuna industry is at its peak, it needs strong management. Fortunately, the Vietnamese government has stepped up and is taking strong action to make the tuna fishery sustainable, like monitoring and regulating illegal catches. We hope to be MSC certified soon.
Business is booming in Vietnam, thanks in part to the handline tuna fishery.
With the additional cash we made, my son and I started a clothing shop and an edible bird nest farm in the top half of our home.
Now that the Vietnam government is on board, it's anticipated that the fishery will be MSC certified as sustainable within a few years.
Our message to all the fishery stakeholders is that the processors are committed to making the Vietnam fishery sustainable. We will make the ocean and the tuna great again.
So it's not so important who discovered the tuna handline fishing technique. What's important is what the one-by-one handline method represents.
VINATUNA has become a member of the IPNLF. We are meeting the standard of one line, one fish, promoted by them and Sea Delight.
VINATUNA joined IPNLF in March 2019. It's our first member in Vietnam. Great opportunity for collaboration with the Vietnamese one-by-one tuna fisheries. We think through our experience we can certainly provide assistance to VINATUNA and its members to become MSC certified. To support the one-by-one tuna fisheries, it promotes responsible fishing practices. You can't go wrong by supporting this fishery.
We really appreciate that the IPNLF and Sea Delight are helping the Vietnam tuna industry to develop in a sustainable way.
Before you buy the fish you're going to eat, find out a little bit about the story and support handline fisheries. It's a great idea to support one line, one fish fisheries.
Now, when Vietnamese families come to the ocean at the end of the day, they feel secure knowing that the tuna industry has a bright future. tuna customers throughout the world can feel good knowing that the fruits of the ocean will continue to be available for future generations.